that anybody's a bad person. I'm not here to make anyone feel bad about who they are. That would be hypocritical of me, because only a few years ago, I was somebody who didn't care about animals at all. I didn't care about animals, mate, like less than most people you'd know. I was apathetic to their suffering, to the point where I didn't even really, I just thought animals were slobbery, dirty, disgusting things. I didn't think they were intelligent. I didn't think they could care about their own life. So why would I care about their own life? That's where I was at. Anyone can change. That's why I'm here, because I want to encourage others to follow the same road that I have, a road that has brought me so much peace and so much happiness and fulfillment and contentment, and I feel like I'm on a path to a better world, and every single person that's walking along that path with me is a co-creator in making this world a kinder, more peaceful place for us all to live. For me to inspire others to take this journey, to take these steps, the best way I know how to do it is to just tell you my own story. To tell you what happened to me, to tell you how I changed so much from being someone who doesn't care about animals at all, who's apathetic to their suffering, to being somebody who's passionate enough about helping animals to take a 1-year-long vow of silence to raise awareness for animals and promote peace over violence. So that's what I'm going to do. Thanks. Oh, cheers. Thank you. You can't shut me up now, like I'm making up for it, for sure. Thank you, I appreciate it. So, this is what happened to me. It all started about 12 years ago when I was diagnosed with leukemia and lymphoma. I was so sick. I was 17 at the time, and I nearly died numerous times. They told me I had 20% chance to live, and I'd have 6 weeks to live if I didn't start chemotherapy straight away. So that's what I did. All kinds of things happened to me while I had cancer, all the typical stuff. There was times where I could barely breathe for days with a bad case of pneumonia. There were times where I put on 25 kilos almost overnight, so fast actually that the skin on my sides ripped and bled. And that's how I created these massive stretch marks on my sides. I was so unhealthy and I suffered. And this is the first time I had ever suffered before. I didn't know what suffering was before this. I thought I did, sprained a few ankles skateboarding and things like that, it hurt. But true suffering, I realized, is one of the worst things that any of us can ever go through. There's nothing worse. When you're suffering, all you care about is coming out of your suffering. And thankfully, this man, a personal trainer, helped me get fit, get healthy, get strong again when I was able to. But bigger than that, he'd helped me out of my suffering. And I realized what a gift this is that this man has given me. He hadn't just helped me lose weight, he'd helped me out of my suffering. I got so much benefit from this, and so did he. He felt so much better. He felt like he'd done something good, and he had. He got so much benefit from helping me out of my suffering too. I was inspired, so I wanted to do the same. So I became a personal trainer for the next 8 years, very passionate about helping others get fit, get strong, get healthy, lose weight, get off medications, learn how to eat right, all these kind of things. And my job landed me working on a cruise ship, traveling around the world, doing lectures, doing classes, and meeting about 1,000 different people every week. And it was on this ship that I was meeting all kinds of kooky people, man, every single week, all kinds of weirdos, some very intelligent, interesting people. And one day I met a very interesting man, a wise old Indian man. Dude looked like the Buddha, big belly, big smile, talked like the Buddha, deep philosophical, intellectual conversation. Very intriguing to me. So every day he's come and I'm like, let's chat, bro. And we talk for like 2 hours a day and I'm just soaking it in, all his information. He's talking about the universe, he's talking about connections in nature, he's talking about all these sort of sideways topics I'd never really thought about before. And on the last day of his 2-week cruise, he dropped the bomb on me, man. I was so close to getting away. This is a life-changing moment for me. He planted one seed in my mind that grew into something so strong. He said to me, eating animals is bad karma. And I was like, well, I'm in trouble, man. I'm eating animals breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I didn't know if I believed in karma, karma maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But what he did make me do was wonder, Could there be some benefit to me in some way by not eating animal products? Could I get some benefit from this? But someone else had planted a seed in my mind years previous, a mentor of a personal training mentor who I looked up to. And he said to me one day, there's no such thing as a healthy vegetarian. So I was like, sweet, I don't want to be a vegetarian, you know, I don't want to have to look into that. That's not possible in my life. I could never stop eating meat, ever. I was the biggest meat eater I knew. So good, there's no such thing as a healthy vegetarian. I repeated that to this Indian man, no such thing as a healthy vegetarian though. And he said, I've been vegetarian for 20 years. And I was like, bro, you need to get to a hospital ASAP. Like, this is bad, you've probably got a protein deficiency, you're about to die. And I thought, man, 20 years? Damn, that's long, all right? Maybe it's possible. Maybe I'll just try and go vegetarian for 1 week, just to see how I feel, just so I could rule it out, you know? I didn't want to be vegetarian. I just do it, try it, rule it out. It didn't work for me. So I do it. 3 days in, I was expecting not to be able to get out of bed in the morning, man. Had no iron in 3 days, you know what I'm saying? 3 days in, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling amazing. I got all this energy. I'm sleeping less. I'm happy. I feel better after my meals. I'm strong in the gym. I'm eating good, delicious food, which was a big shock. I'm like, what am I gonna eat this week? I'm gonna eat like lettuce and tofu all week. This is gonna be so bad. But it was good. And I thought, there must be something to this. Why do I feel so good? It might seem a bit shocking after just 3 days to notice those benefits, but nod your head if you've been on a cruise ship before. Few people. You know how it's a buffet every meal? So I'm living on this thing. Every meal was a buffet. I'm stacking my plate up full of meat every meal. No wonder I felt so much better in just 3 days. I wasn't eating fruit and veggies, man. I didn't want to waste space, you know? So I was thinking I was making the most of it. 3 days in, I felt so much better. I thought, there must be something to this. Is there? I need to look into this. As a passionate health professional, I want to know if I'm telling my clients the best thing that they can do for their health. And for myself, I care about my own health too. And that's kind of why this all started, because this man made it about me. He made it about my karma. He made it about my benefit. It wasn't about the animals at all. I start researching, looking into the health benefits. Can you be a healthy person without consuming animal products? And what I learned absolutely shocked me, blew my reality into a million pieces. Not only can you be healthy without consuming animal products, but you're likely to be far healthier. Reducing your chances of heart disease, the biggest killer, cancers, diabetes, obesity, osteoporosis, so many lifestyle diseases. The diseases that we, our friends, our family, are most likely to die from. We're likely to live a far longer life, healthier life, without consuming animal products. It shocked me. I thought, how's this possible? All right, well, maybe I'll stick with this. And I start telling everyone. Everyone knows that vegetarian. Probably a lot of people here already been this person, where you go vegetarian and then you like tell everybody. You know, they make jokes about us. How do you know when someone's vegetarian or vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. I was fully into that. I'm like, bro, you gotta go vegetarian, man. It's so good, it's so healthy. Telling everybody. And I couldn't believe it, because when I'm looking into all this, getting all these health benefits, feeling so excited, telling everybody, and everyone's freaking out, like, bro, you were eating steak yesterday. Like, what happened? What happened to you? And then I learned that most people, you know, through my research, I'm getting so into it, I feel like I discovered this massive secret. Most people, I learned, aren't vegetarian for the health benefits. Most people are vegetarian for the animals. And I didn't get that at all. I was like, why would you be vegetarian for animals? Honestly, why would you change your life for them? They don't know, they don't care. They can't even think properly, like they're nothing. That's what I thought. But everyone's telling me, go vegetarian for the animals, that's what it's all about. And I was like, what's going on? Everyone's recommending me to watch this documentary. Watch Earthlings, you gotta check it out. Nod your head if you've seen Earthlings. What? You shouted out like it's a great doco. You love that one. Nah, it kind of is, it is amazing, because it's a life-changing documentary. So everyone's like, watch Earthlings. I'm like, I'm gonna check this documentary out. In case you haven't seen it, Earthlings is a documentary that shows all the ways humans exploit animals for food, clothing, entertainment, and medical testing. It's brutal, it's graphic, it's bloody, it's violent. I've never seen anything like it in my life, except for one time. A couple of years before, my brother said, bro, watch this documentary, you're never gonna wanna eat meat again. And I was like, there's no documentary that could do that to me. And it was true. I watched this documentary he recommended, it showed animals being slaughtered. I said, mate, if you wanna feel guilty about that, that's up to you. I'm not gonna feel guilty about being a human who needs to eat meat to survive. If you wanna, go ahead, that makes no sense to me. But when I watched Earthlings, with a fresh perspective, with an understanding, new knowledge that we don't need to eat animals to be healthy, it led me to the question, if we don't need to kill and eat animals to survive and thrive, what are we doing this to them for? And that's the question I needed an answer for. I thought there must be a good reason, surely, because everybody loves animals. And if you don't love animals, you're at least against animal cruelty. I didn't love animals, but I didn't hate animals. I didn't want, if I saw someone punching a pig in the face, even though I ate pigs, I would still step in and say, oi, that's wrong, man. Because a victim of violence is a victim of violence, and that's not something I'm chill with. So everyone is at least against animal cruelty. I thought, well, there must be a good reason why 99% of people are contributing to this, paying these slaughterhouse workers to do this cruelty. And I looked for a good reason. There must be one. I looked so hard. I wanted to find a reason. I didn't want to stick with being a vegetarian. It was just a little experiment. I didn't want my morals to tell me what to do and say, actually, you can't go back now. So I keep looking, and I realized the best justifications we've got for consuming animal products are taste, habit, tradition, and convenience. Taste, habit, tradition, and convenience. Nowhere near are they good enough justifications for the violence and the torture and the terror and the killing that I had witnessed in that documentary. I was no animal lover, but I know oppression when I see it. I know unnecessary cruelty and violence when I see it. And that's not the type of person that I strive to be. And that's not the type of person that I know the majority of us strive to be. We want to be good people. We want to help others out of their suffering. We want to increase the peace. We want to be loving. We want to be compassionate people. It feels good when we help others. And I realized, looking at what I was seeing, that when I was consuming animal products, I was running in the opposite direction of that. And that mattered, because this just wasn't some mundane diet choice. This was the difference between enslavement and freedom, between torture and peace, between death and life. This was a big thing. And I decided, right, I'm not vegetarian anymore just for the health benefits. I'm vegetarian now for the animals. And I started telling everyone a little differently. I'm like, hey, remember I was telling you all them health benefits like yesterday? It all happened kind of quick. But guess what? Do you know what they do to the animals? You ever seen what happens to those animals before they come a neatly wrapped package on that supermarket shelf? You ever seen what happens? And what shocked me was that people were kind of saying to me, don't tell me, man, I don't want to know, don't spoil my dinner. And I'm like, I'm gonna spoil your dinner. I'm telling you what's happening. People don't want to hear. And that shocked me, I didn't understand. But you're an animal lover, why don't you want to hear this? You despise animal cruelty. Why don't you want to hear about this? I couldn't get it, I didn't understand at the time. There's a lot of things involved in this. Anyway, this Indian man, he wasn't done with me. I say, how do you know all this stuff, brother? You're so smart, you're a wise man. How do you know all this? He said, meditation. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, you just sat in the corner, he came to you? He's like, actually, yeah. I'm like, damn. Isn't there like a book I can read or something? Some sort of course? I'm pretty busy, I don't really have a lot of time to be chilling. And he said, if you want to learn things like this, you got to meditate. And I was like, all right, I'll try it. So I book in this I'm a little bit like 0 to 100. You'll learn from the rest of the stories here. So I book in for this 10-day silent meditation. You meditate 10 hours a day for 10 days. I don't know why I did that. That was a bad move. It's a lot of meditation in 10 days. Anyway, I get home from my cruise ship. Everyone's like, bro, people been calling each other saying you're vegetarian. Are the rumors true? Like, we're worried about you. I'm like, yeah, I'm veggie. You're gonna be vegetarian soon too, man. I got this documentary you gotta watch. It's next level hectic. And then I go to my meditation. Started January 1st, 2013. Yeah. So I go to this thing. It's all about observing the physical sensations of your body. I'm about 50 hours deep in the meditation. It's day 5. I have this crazy, strong sensation come over my body. It's like pressure, it's like vibration, it's going down, and I'm just like, what is happening here? I'm feeling it, I'm freaking out a little bit, and then it passes. And I was just left like, what was that? That was weird. And I don't know if this is what it was, but I hope that my conclusion is correct, because I based an entire year-long vow of silence on this moment pretty much. What I think happened was my body was trying to get me to speak. It hadn't spoken in 5 days. So it was like, come on, like say something. I'm like, not yet, like 5 more days. And it led me to questions. I started thinking, man, how long could you do this for? How long could you not speak for? Imagine not speaking for a whole month. That would be intense. Imagine not speaking for a whole year. That's a pretty long time. And here's the danger with meditation. It should come with a warning sign. When you meditate a lot, you get real positive, and all your ideas seem like really good ideas. So I was like, yeah, year-long vow of silence, totally. Chuck that at the top of the list. What? So I think, yeah, maybe I can do this vow of silence, you know, that sounds kind of up my alley, bit of a challenge. But I thought, I can't come home from the cruise ship and say, guess what, everybody, I've gone vegetarian. People are already freaking out. And then I can't get home from this 10-day meditation and go, guess what, everybody? I decided I'm not gonna speak for a whole year. People are just gonna be like, I told you he was on drugs. So, all right, I need something else here. I need a reason to do it. You know, what do I care about? Well, I care about health, care about people, always have. But my newfound passion for speaking up for animals was strong. I really cared about this. I'd only been vegetarian for 3 months at this time. But man, I was passionate. I felt like there was such a big injustice happening, and it was being on my plate the entire time, and I didn't even see it. So I decided maybe I could go voiceless for the animals. They're voiceless, I'll be voiceless. Yeah, that kind of works. But I thought, is this a big enough cause? I keep telling people about it and no one seemed to care. Even the animal lovers don't seem to care. Maybe this isn't big enough. I need to keep researching, because everyone's asking me all these questions. Where do you get protein, man? I'm like, I don't know. Where do you get iron, bro? I'm like, I don't know. In food, I suppose. What happens, you know, free range, is that okay? I'm like, I don't think it's okay. What about humanely slaughtered animals? I'm like, yeah, good question. I didn't know. People asking me like, what if we don't eat the animals? Won't they take over the world and eat us? I was like, do chickens do that, man? Shit. All right, I need to answer all these questions, so I start researching. I wanted to have these answers. People asking me, and it was stressing me out that I couldn't answer. And I realized this isn't just about human health. Even though right now we have an epidemic of illness and disease, what do we all have in common? Meat, cheese, milk, and eggs. People are dying and suffering, our friends and our family, from often preventable diseases. You know, I want my family to be around a long time. I don't want them to suffer during that time. The best way we can give ourselves the best shot at a healthy, happy, long life is from not consuming animal products. The studies show it over and over and over again. In fact, the largest study ever conducted on the relationship between nutrition and disease, the bottom line was that the optimal amount of animal products in the human body is 0. We can get every single thing we need from consuming plants. In fact, the studies show that there are less deficiencies on average in a vegan diet, in a diet free from animal products, than in a diet with animal products. I'm learning all this stuff. I realize this is big for humans, man. There's a lot of people suffering right now. That matters to me. But what else is going on? Well, the environment. Something I never really thought about before. Right now, animal agriculture is destroying the only planet we got. It's a leading cause of deforestation, species extinction, habitat loss, ocean dead zones, greenhouse gas emissions. There's more greenhouse gas emissions produced by cows and the methane that comes out of them than by every single transportation device on the planet. They estimate by the year 2048, there'll be no fish left in the ocean. What is going on, man? Things are bad. Don't get it wrong like I did, thinking someone else has got it covered. Things are bad, and they're likely to get worse if we don't do something. This is big for our generation, for the next generations. But I couldn't help but keep coming back to the animals. This is 1.5 trillion innocent beings who feel pain and suffer just like we do. They have their own communities. They communicate with each other. They have their own heart. They have their own brains. They eat, they breathe, they sleep. They have blood in their veins. They have bones in their body. They have everything that's important in common with us. Everything that matters we share. And we mutilate and torture and slaughter 1.5 trillion of them every single year for foods and products that not only we don't need, but that we're better off without. That's 1.5 trillion reasons I decided I had to take this vow of silence for the animals. I keep researching, I keep learning, I'm studying, and I realized I wasn't all the way there yet. I thought I was doing my part. And I was trying. But it wasn't long before I realized there's at least as much cruelty in dairy, in eggs, in leather, in wool, in silk, in places that exploit animals for entertainment. All these things, all animal products come from animal use. All animal use is a form of exploitation, and all exploitation is immoral. I realized that by being vegetarian and by not eating meat, I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing. I was still contributing to animal cruelty. In fact, I'd stopped eating meat and I'd replaced it with extra dairy, with extra eggs. I just moved the cruelty around. And I thought, am I against animal cruelty to all animals or just animals bred for meat? Well, it didn't really make sense to be against animal cruelty just to some animals. I thought, am I against all types of animal cruelty or just specific types of animal cruelty that I've decided are more important than others? I thought, nah, I'm against it all, man. It's all wrong. So then that's when I heard about veganism. I didn't know much about it. I only knew one thing about it, really. One day my mate comes up to me and he said, guess what? Grant, one of our mates, Grant has gone vegan. I was like, what the hell is that? He goes, I don't know, he doesn't sit on leather couches anymore. I was like, why? That's weird. You don't like sitting down no more? It's strange. Vegan, it's not this extreme thing I thought it was. All it means is that if you're against animal cruelty, you live in alignment with that. You don't eat animals, you don't wear them, you don't use products that have been tested on them or contain them, and you don't visit places that exploit them for work or entertainment. You just leave animals alone. You just let them live the lives that they'd want to live. You just treat them the way that you'd want to be treated. It's that simple. That's what veganism is. It's about not supporting animal cruelty, something that we all say we don't. I always thought that was extreme, but in this moment I thought, man, since when is it extreme not to want to harm animals? That's not extreme. The only thing that seemed extreme in that moment was the way I was living my life. Extremely cruel, violent, and unnecessary. So I don't want to live like that anymore. I'm going to have to do this vegan thing, man. People are going to freak out when I tell them. Best choice I ever made. It didn't happen straight away. I was struggling a little bit because I was like an ice cream addict. It was bad. I'd wake up, I'd have a tub. It was pretty hectic. And then I learned this amazing recipe, right? So take notes. This is the most important part of the speech. If you freeze a few ripe bananas and you blend it up with like soy milk or something, you got ice cream, banana ice cream. It's healthy, it's delicious. No one had to die for it. It's pretty good when it comes to ice cream. I found this recipe, I was like eating it 3 times a day, man. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And then when I planned the rest of the year, that vow of silence. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna travel around Australia. I'm gonna write a blog so people can follow my journey. And I'm gonna tell people what I've been learning about veganism, about animal rights. I started that vow of silence January 1st, 2014. So a year later from the date that I had planned to do it. Very anticlimax moment. You know when exciting things happen, you want to cheer? I was just like, silence, boom, nothing. My mates got to cheer, that was all right. And then I started traveling down, in a camper van, traveling south. First things first, I had to keep in my head not to speak. You know, I thought it'd be a good way, people might be interested. This guy's not talking for a year, what's that gonna be like? Let's follow his journey. I didn't know anyone that had ever done that before. And then I meet this woman who's real good at sign language, because I was just writing everything down. It was real slow, you know, like you think of a funny joke, you're in a conversation with some people, you write it down, you go to show them, and it's not funny anymore. Like, it was driving me pretty nuts. So I'm like, I need a better way to communicate. I meet a person who's real good at sign language. And you know, people do sign language. They talk like this with no noise, you know, but they do the mouth thing. So I'm speaking to this woman, like, you know, writing everything down, playing charades the whole time, which I'm an expert at now, by the way. If anyone wants to battle later, I'm down. And I see she's talking with her mouth and I can understand. So I start doing the same, like chuck my book. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be so much easier. And then I figure I've got some time on my hands. What can I do with my time? You know? Well, I've never even met these animals that I'm speaking up for. I've never even been around a chicken or a pig or a cow. Maybe I should go meet some. All I've been around is my little dog, Bruce. And I feel bad saying this, especially to a crowd like this, but I didn't even really like Bruce that much. It kind of annoyed me, you know? I wasn't an animal lover, I can't stress this enough. Don't hurt me. I go, I'm gonna go meet all these animals. So I go to this place. And they're all excited, it's like an animal sanctuary, like, it's that voiceless guy. And I was like, what's up? I get in there, they start introducing me to all the animals. This is Harry the horse, this is Peter the horse. I was like, okay. And then she takes me to the chickens. You know how there's like those people who are obsessed with cats and they got like 45 cats at their house just roaming? We got some right here. There's probably heaps in the crowd actually. There's also people who are like a little obsessed with chickens, which I didn't realize. Whoa, see? I wasn't making it up. It's a thing. And this woman is one of them. So there's all these chickens, right, like 30 of them. She starts telling me all their names. This is Jemima, this is Jasmine, this is Sarah. And I was just like, this is what I mouthed. I'll just say it so it's easier for you all to understand what was going on. I was like, why would you name them all? For sure, you don't know which ones are which. They all look exactly the same. And they're chickens, you know? Why name them? They're all the same, you know? You don't say that to a chicken, one of these chicken people, like, right? She's probably, yeah, she's pissed. So, right, like, I didn't know this, but they're all individuals. She's like, nah, Jasmine, she's so sweet, like, give her a little pat, she loves affection. I'm like, oh yeah. She said, watch out for Jasmine. She'll rip you to shreds. I was like, shit, which one was Jasmine? They're all different. They're all individuals. I honestly didn't know that before. I'd never been around these animals. Just like humans, we're all very similar in a lot of ways, but we're all very different in a lot of ways too. And it just planted a seed for me, you know, maybe there's a little more to these animals than I thought. Next day, it's like 45 degrees. You never had a day like that here, have you? Is that true? No, you don't know what that's like. It's hot, man. Maybe some of you in the heat right now like, shut up about it, just keep talking, it's hot here, man. So it's 45 degrees, it's one of the hottest days I've ever been alive in. We get this call, someone else answered obviously, and they were like, we got a bobby calf, we got a baby cow that's been rescued from slaughter. We want to bring him somewhere, can we bring him to your sanctuary? And we were like, of course, bring him. So this baby cow rocks up. in the back of a station wagon. We flip the top, look at him, it's this tiny little baby cow. Cutest thing I've seen in my life. So soft, I'm just patting him like, oh my God. Pick him up, we get him in, and put him down. His name's Rupert. Rupert's eyes are rolling in the back of his head. He's panting heavily. It's like it looked like he was struggling to live. He couldn't stand up. His umbilical cord was still attached. He's a fresh earthling, fresh to this planet. And the reason why he was with us, the reason why he'd been rescued from slaughter is this. So I didn't know this about the dairy industry. I didn't know what the dairy industry was like. You know, I knew concepts I'd seen. I'd never seen an actual victim of the dairy industry. This is what happens. In the dairy industry, cows don't just give milk naturally all the time. They're mammals, just like humans. They have to either be pregnant or have recently been pregnant. For that to happen, in the dairy industry, a human will shove their arm into the cow's anus and then inject her vagina with bull semen. That's like bestiality, man. They will force a pregnancy on her. They force her to become pregnant. And then after 9 months of pregnancy, just like a human, when she gives birth, they take her babies from her because they don't want the babies drinking the milk that was made for them. So they steal the babies, which is a highly traumatic experience for these mothers. The baby boys are seen as a waste product. They're never going to produce milk, they're boys. And they're sent to the slaughterhouse because of that. Their only crime is being born male in the dairy industry. The cutest, most gentle, innocent animals you can think of, pushed down the line at the slaughterhouse by slaughterhouse workers. There's many stories of them sucking on the slaughterhouse workers' thumbs, looking for their mother, you know, looking for milk. And then they get a bolt gun put to their skull, which fires a rod through their skull to pierce their brain. That stuns them. And then they get their throat slit. Big knife. And we call this something. We call this humane slaughter. Humane slaughter. I'll tell you what humane means in case you're not sure. Humane means to show compassion. How can you compassionately slit the throat of an innocent feeling being? How can you compassionately kill someone who does not want to die? Humane slaughter makes as much sense as humane child molestation. There's no humane way to do the wrong thing. That's a word used by industry to make people like us, good people, feel better about our choice to pay someone else to do something violent and cruel and wrong. It means nothing for the animals. I'll give you another example. I've got a brother, an actual brother. His name's Jono. He's a legend. I love him. I let him free range his whole life even. It's quite nice of me. And then one day, when he's sleeping, I put a gun to his head, boom, and I kill him. He didn't feel a thing, he didn't see it coming. And then I go to court and I tell the judge, relax, mate, it's humane murder. Are they gonna be like, oh yeah, no, that's cool. Did you eat him? Yeah, sweet as, don't worry about it. That's all good, if you ate him, don't worry. Or is he gonna be like, no, it's not humane murder. It doesn't matter if you felt it or saw it coming. You killed him, you robbed him of his greatest gift. You robbed him of his life, the most precious thing any of us will ever possess. And that is one of the most cruel things that you can do to somebody. It doesn't matter how it's done. There's no humane slaughter. But that's what they say happens to these baby animals. The baby girls have the same fate as their mother. They're forcibly impregnated. They're hooked up to painful milking machines their entire life, which is a very short life compared to nature. In nature, they live 25 years. At the dairy industry, 5 to 7 years. To the point where they become so severely exploited that they collapse. It's called a down cow. Those cows are taken to the same slaughterhouse as her babies. Bolt gun, boom, slit. Humane slaughter. Why does this happen? Why do we do this? I wish there was a good reason, but there's not. The best reason we want a slice of cheese on our sandwich. We want that extra little bit of flavor. We want that milk in our coffee, that cow's milk. You know, we want that milk on our cereal. That's why, a little bit of milk on our cereal. And we have other milks. We have vegan cheeses. We have soy milk, rice milk, almond milk, coconut milk, hazelnut milk, hemp milk, milk, man. We've got so many of them. You check that, it's at the same supermarket. In fact, often going vegan is literally this easy, right? You're reaching for the cow's milk and you're like, oh no, I'm trying to be good, trying to be vegan. And then you just have to do this. You just do that. And there's the soy, and there's the rice, and there's the almond. It's that easy, man, to spare those individuals of so much cruelty and violence. So easy, you still have all the same foods you like, just have the vegan version of them. So this is Rupert, man. This little boy is calm, and it was my job to look after him. So I'm feeding him the milk every day. I've got this big plastic bottle with this rubber teat, you know? And I was like the dude with the milk, and he knew that, because everyone else they could pat him, but me not. He just headbutt me, slobber all over my pants, wanting to get milk out of me, and they headbutt their mums they headbutt their mum's udder when they want milk. So I was like the daddy with the milk kind of thing. It was a pretty weird situation for everyone involved. I was there for 6 weeks with Rupert. I spent a lot of time chilling with this guy. I spent a lot of time looking him in the eyes, and I realized this isn't a thing. This animal isn't a something. This is a someone, very much like me, with wants and desires and needs, ways of communicating, you know, being able to feel pain, suffer, not want to suffer, want to have peace and pleasure. So much like me, man, in all the ways that matter. He just looks a little different on the outside, but we've got a lot in common. And on the last day, I was there for 6 weeks, chilling with Rupert, and I wanted to say goodbye to him. It was time for me to keep moving. I thought, how am I gonna say goodbye, man? My writing is terrible. He's not gonna be able to read it if I write a little goodbye note. What can I do? I'll try telepathy, you know, because I'm still not talking, right? I tried telepathy. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I don't usually do that, don't worry. So he's at the other side of the bar and I stare at him, I'm like, Rupert. No, I didn't do that, I was kidding. I just think to him, I'm like, Rupert, in my head, it's been so good getting to know you, man. I've learned a lot and I've really enjoyed my time here with you. You're in good hands here, but it's time for me to go, so I'll come and visit you sometime in the future. And he's just staring at me. I'm staring at him. And then he starts walking over, all chilling. And I'm thinking, here we go, headbutts. He's gonna wreck these pants I just put on. Oh, well, last time, no big deal. He comes up to me and he does something that he has not done in the entire time that I've known him. This is the oddest behavior from this cow in this moment. It freaked me out. He comes up to me and I'm like, headbutt, slobber, you want milk? I get it, bro. Comes up and he just nuzzles his head on my leg. And I was like, whoa. I thought, I'll try to push it, see what happens. So I bend down. Obviously I'm expecting this big cow tongue up my face, headbutt me over, knock me out. And I just start patting him. And we're just chilling, looking at each other. And I'm like, we're having a moment here. This is a definite cow-human moment. Wigged me out. I thought, man, did he hear me? I don't know. I'm not saying he heard me. He heard me. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I don't know. But it made me think, because that was so strange, that timing. It's like you got some vibe that I was out of there. It was so weird. I thought, man, we think we know so much about these animals. We think we know everything there is to know about them. We've got it. Cows, they're like this, they're like that, they're like this, they're like that. Boom, that's them. Then they'll put pigs in this box and cows in this box and all animals in a box. But we'll never fully understand the complexity of the awareness and the consciousness of other species. We'll never fully grasp it. We can only have ideas about it, concepts about it. We'll never fully know what they're capable of. And that's what I realized. We need to have a more open-minded idea about who we're dealing with on this planet, who we got as our fellow custodians of this planet. You know, we go to other planets looking for life. Man, there's millions of species here that we don't treat right. What are we gonna do when we get somewhere else? this time with Rupert really fueled my fire. There's a real life victim of the dairy industry. I was not okay with it. I'm like, man, I need to do more. And I wanted to see more, you know? Not just on YouTube, I wanted to see more with my own eyes. So I started visiting these places that exploit animals, factory farms, all these things. I wanted to see it from my own eyes. You don't just cruise in, you're like, yo, what's up? I just want to check your facility out, brother. It's all good, yeah? No, you got to go in at night, you know? Like, you got to see it for what it really is. And I wish I could tell you that animal rights activists are just making up things. They're embellishing the truth. They're editing their videos somehow. I wish I could tell you that, man. I don't want it to be as bad as it is. But I've never seen anything so obviously cruel. Such sheer terror in those animals' eyes. Such violence, such pain, such suffering. Little baby animals squealing on this metal grate, covered in shit. Filthy conditions, squealing in their last moments, just suffering to death. I've never been in a place like this before. And it was the most obvious injustice, the most obvious wrong, the most blatant oppression I've ever seen in my entire life. I look around and I was like, what are we doing? We claim to be civilized, we claim to be humane. This is far from that. This is sprinting in the opposite direction. I see all this with my own eyes and it really fueled my fire, man. It's when my own life kind of took a back seat, when I realized how important it is to speak up for those that can't speak up for themselves. We've got so much, you know, sometimes maybe we forget, but we are at the top of the top of the top of privileged beings on this planet, and they are right at the bottom. They could not be further down. You know, I realized it's not about me getting from here to here, here to here, get a little bit more. It's about bringing the bottom up. And the good news is we get a lot of benefits from doing that too. Because when you're more loving and compassionate to others, you generate those things inside of yourself. So I started feeling a lot better. This van I was traveling in, it broke down finally in WA, the other side of where I needed to be, other side of Australia. In the middle of nowhere. My friend was driving, so I blamed her. I'm like, look, what'd you do to my van, man? Mouthed it, you know? And I didn't know what I was gonna do. She said, what are you gonna do, man? And I was like, I'm gonna walk back. You've probably seen a map of Australia. It's pretty far. From Western Australia to Sydney, it's a long, long way. It's like, I'm gonna walk, you know? She's like, you can't walk. And I was pretty angry that my van had broke down. I had to abandon it, so I lost like 10,000 bucks. And she's like, you can't walk. Why don't you ride a bike? And I was like, that's a heaps better idea. Because if I was gonna walk across, what was I thinking, man? Such a bad idea. I could maybe cycle though. That's actually a possibility. But I had a plane to catch. I had to get to Darwin. So I had to hitchhike 2,000 kilometers. That's a real hard thing to do when you're voiceless. I don't know if there's a lot of hitchhiking happening here, but in Australia, when people hitchhike, it's because they want to have a chat, you know? They want to pick up somebody to have a chat with to make the time go faster. So people picking me up, I sit in, I'm like, sweet. And they're like, hey, how you going, buddy? And I'm like, sorry, can't talk. I'm like, what do you mean? I show them my little notes and that, they're like, oh. A lot of awkward silences, a lot. But there was one especially awkward silence that I'll never forget. I'd been hitching for like 6 hours trying to get out of this little town. And then finally, this dude, he went past, and I'm like, get back here, man. And he comes back. And I wrote this little note, hey, my van's broke down, I need to get to Darwin, like 2,000 Ks. I've taken a bit of silence to raise money for charity. I didn't say for animals because I was in cattle country, so like, I'm not an idiot. But just for charity, man, no big deal. And I show him my little note, and he looks at it, and he goes, well, that's a bit shit, isn't it? And I was like, is it? I'm like, what? Well, nah, it's good. I'm like, just begging this dude, please take me, man. I've got this plane to catch, eh? And so he's like, get in then. So I get in, I'm like, yes, sit down. We're just looking at each other. It's pretty weird. Got real awkward, and then he's like, oh, I put my audio book back on. And I was like, cool. So he puts his audio book on, most Australian audiobook I ever heard in my life, right? And it's just at this part where this guy walks up the stairs and starts slashing and gutting everyone. And I was like, oh shit. I've seen movies start like this. So he's like, can you at least roll ciggies? Can you roll cigarettes? And I was like, yeah, like, I'm gonna roll you like 1,000, man. You need me, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna smoke if I'm not rolling you 1,000 ciggies? We need each other. Let's go. Takes me all the way to Darwin. And the reason why I was getting a flight from Darwin, I was going to Bali. One thing I wasn't expecting during my year of silence was that everyone that came in contact with me, they want to ask me, why are you voiceless, man? Why are you voiceless? I thought all my advocacy would be online. But actually, when everyone asked me, it gave me an opportunity to bring up the conversation. Why are you voiceless? Are you deaf? I'm like, no. And I would be like, no, I'm not. And then I'd write it down, or I'd give them literature, I'd body language, give them a DVD, whatever. And I thought, how else am I going to bring this conversation up? How am I going to bring this up all the time when I'm speaking again, you know? I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll get covered in tattoos. Everyone always like, what do your tattoos say, bro? What are your tattoos about? It's like, sweet. When people ask me, I'm like, oh, sit down, man. You got like 15 minutes, I'll tell you all about them. So I get all these tattoos, I go to Bali, I tell you just a few of them. I got this line here, it says, lions kill for need, humans kill for greed. A lot of people are like, yeah, no, but lions, man, you know what I'm saying? Lions. Lions eat animals. Yeah, because they have to, because they don't have supermarkets like us. We got supermarkets, you know? We don't need to kill anyone to survive, unlike lions who are obligate carnivores. We have a choice. You know, lions kill and eat their babies sometimes. You don't do that and be like, yeah, no, but lions do that, man, sometimes. Like, that don't make any sense, because we're not lions, you know? And then I get this one. This is a photo of me when we rescued some little baby chicks from a factory farm. And it says, we are fighting until every cage is empty, not until every cage is comfortable. We don't want comfortable cages with pillows and lots of space. No innocent being deserves to be in a cage. It's a really simple concept. If you wouldn't want to be in a cage, you shouldn't put someone else in a cage. An innocent being never deserves to be in a cage. This is one of my favorites. It's an orangutan and her baby. And it says, because the heart beats under a covering of feathers, scales, wings, or fur, it is for that reason to be of no account. Just because the heart is beating under something different than what we got, how many times have we got this wrong already? When men view themselves as superior to women based on their external. When white people and other cultures, but especially, you know, in recent years, when white people view themselves as superior over black people because of the color of their skin, sexism, racism, and now I'm talking about speciesism, when we view our worth based on our species membership. No matter what attribute you give our species, you say, yeah, but humans can do this. We can build buildings, we can make a symphony, whatever it is. You will always find some humans incapable of doing that. You will always find some humans that have those abilities and skills to a lesser degree than what some animals have. Does that mean we start finding these humans and be like, you look pretty tasty, man? No, because that's not, it doesn't matter. Those attributes, intelligence, things like that, that's not what's important when it comes to the question, can we kill you and eat you because we feel like having that taste in our mouth? What else I get? A couple of starving children. It says, every morsel of meat we eat is slapping the tear-stained face of a hungry child. This is the most startling, shocking statistic that I've ever known. That 20,000 children die every single day of starvation or malnutrition. One is too many. 20,000 a day? I actually couldn't believe that when I first heard it. You know, if you think the world's okay and things are going fine, just consider that statistic. Things are so far from okay. In the places with the highest prevalence of starvation and malnutrition, We import grain from those countries to fatten up the animals that we kill for our food. We give them 6 to 12 times more food than what we can take from them. We give them all this food. We take this little tiny amount. Meanwhile, statistics like that are happening places all around the world. And last one I'll tell you about, it's the metamorphosis of a butterfly. Caterpillar goes in, comes out a butterfly. It says, be the change you wish to see in the world. If you want a more peaceful world, model that behavior. Show how it's done. Be the change. That's a Gandhi quote, who was a big believer in animal rights. We can make this world a better place. I get all these tattoos, man, so when people ask me, I'm like, I'm gonna tell you every single thing that you need to hear. And my tattooist one day, we did this over like 5 days, my tattooist is sitting across from me. He asked me one day while he's eating lunch, he's like, do you want some, man? Do you want some lunch? Like some of his lunch. And I look at him, I'm like, I don't eat animals. Have you been tattooing me with your eyes closed, man? What do you mean? He goes, nah, bro, this is vegan. I was like, what? Really? He goes, yeah, I thought if you can do it, why can't I do it? Wow. And I was like, exactly, man. There's nothing special about me. There's nothing special about any other vegan. You don't need to be a highly intellectual person. You don't need to be a lover of tofu, even though firm tofu is actually delicious. The squishy balls in the squishy cubes in the miso, super disgusting. I'm with you on that. But firm tofu is good. You don't need to be a particular religion. You don't need to care about your health. You don't even need to be an animal lover. I wasn't. You only need to agree with one thing to be vegan. And that thing is this: that causing unnecessary harm to animals is wrong. If you agree with that, you agree with veganism. You've got veganism in your heart, and all that's left for you to do is align your actions with your values. We all got that value. We're just way off the mark, but it's easy to get back there. I was so happy for this guy, man. We had a communication barrier, we had a language barrier, still he figured it out. It's not a complicated message. I get home, I get back to Darwin, I had a 5,000 kilometre bike ride to do. 5,000 kilometres. Why didn't that sound like a big number to me when I was planning this? I have no idea. It's a really long way. Especially for someone whose longest bike ride ever was like 40 kilometres. Anyway, I get this bike, I pack it up with all the saddlebags and that, start riding. I promise you I was in agony. I was in so much pain. I hated it. It wasn't pain in my legs, it was pain in my ass, man. My ass was killing me. And if it wasn't my bum, it was my hands. Because then I'd take my bum off the seat, and it was pain. It was like pain, like there was no escape. It was the worst thing ever. And I was really thirsty, so I had to keep riding. Stroke of luck, my spoke broke, and I had to get it taken to a shop to get fixed. And while I'm there, I'm just like, thank God, man, take your time, man, I need a break. My bum's so you got no idea. And then I didn't know what the problem was. But then I see this bike seat, one of them gel cushion things, like the most beautiful bikes that I've ever seen. It was just popping out of me, there's this aura around. I was like, oh my God, I need this bike seat. I chuck it on, I start riding. Felt so much better. It's like sitting on a cloud. I made it all the way back, 5,000 kilometers. The reason why I wanted to do this was to show people, in my own way, you can be athletic, strong, fit, healthy, without consuming animal products. But I didn't need to prove that. So many people are already proving it. World record holding strongman is a vegan. World record holding ultra marathoner is a vegan. World champion arm wrestler is a vegan. Mr. Universe of a couple of years ago is a vegan. So many elite athletes consume no animal products. And all the ones that I read about say that when they went vegan, their athletic performance improved, including the world record holding strongman. Vegans are a small minority of the population, growing every day. This is the fastest growing social justice movement of our time. Yeah. Hell yeah it is. I know, it's good, eh? Yeah, it's an exciting time, no doubt about it. Fastest growing social justice movement of our time. Still a small minority of people that have gone vegan, comparatively. Isn't it phenomenal that with such a small population, we're not in the top 100 of these kind of athletic sports, but number 1? That says a lot in my opinion. So I prove my point painfully, and I get back and I get an email from Sunrise, the morning show. It's a morning show in Australia, the most popular morning show in Australia. They said, James, can you speak for the first time on our show? And I was like, nah, no way, man. What if my voice doesn't work? It's been a year. I'm going to embarrass myself in front of everyone in my country, and nah. But I thought about it, I was like, well, I probably should, because it's better for the animals, and damn it, all right, I'll do it. But I wanted, all right, so what happened? Don't tell Sunrise this. This is a secret between us. You all can keep a secret, I'm sure. The first thing I said wasn't actually on their show. I said one thing before that. When the clock struck midnight was when I was officially allowed to break my vow of silence. And I was seeing this girl at the time who'd never heard me speak. That's right. Yeah, I don't need words, mate. Don't worry about it. So I was like, I'm with this girl, the fireworks are cranking, she didn't know what was about to go down, and I thought, I'm gonna do the most romantic thing that I'll probably ever do in my entire life. And I give her this hug, give her a kiss, and I said her name in her ear, like Demar Graham, I said it in her ear, right? Which freaked her out, and she never heard my voice. It's kind of deep sometimes when it's right in the ear. And I did it super loud to make sure it was all gonna work. So she nearly dropped. I'm like, where Amber's at? And I get her up, she's all right. Then I didn't say another thing. I had a 10-day meditation booked the next day. And I go to this meditation. I wanted to figure out exactly what I was gonna say. Exactly how I was gonna break my vow on this show. Spent 10 days in meditation getting every word dialed. Get out of the meditation next day, go to Sunrise, they sit me in the chair, they're like, James, what are your first words gonna be? And I said, I want you to ask me why. And they said, oh, okay, James, why did you do this? And this is how I broke my vow of silence. I said, thank you for asking. But it was more like this, thank you for asking. It's a bit croaky, it's been a while. Thank you for asking. The reason I took this vow of silence is to raise awareness for the voiceless victims of this planet, the animals. We all say we love animals and we're against animal cruelty, yet we pay people to mutilate and torture and slaughter animals. And it's not for any necessity. It's not because we need to for our health, it's because we like the way they taste. So I went voiceless because they're voiceless. I thought, but then I realized they're not actually voiceless. They cry in pain and they scream in terror. And when they do that, they're telling us that they're suffering. But the problem is we're not listening because they're covered in feathers or scales or wings or fur. They don't look like us on the outside. So we don't take their suffering seriously. I also did this to raise awareness for the way I've been living my life. I'm vegan, which means I don't consume any animal products. I don't support any animal exploitation. I wanted to show people through my journey how easy that is, how healthy it is, how good the food is, and that if you agree that animal cruelty is wrong, that it's the right way for you to live too. I don't think they were expecting me to say that. I think someone might have got in their ear and been like, dude's a vegan, man, get him out of here. Because that was pretty much the only question they asked me. They're like, how's your voice feel? I'm like, I don't know, man, say something to what I just said. I spent 10 days on that. They're sponsored by Pork on the Fork. That was a little bit awkward. Maybe it was a bit of an issue, I don't know. Anyway, so the interview ended, it was all this big blur. I'm like, what just happened? Where are the questions? I had answers to everything I thought they were gonna ask me. And I leave and I was like, that went bad. That was bad. And I'm like, don't worry, everything happens for a reason. And then I was like, shut up, that's just what people say when things don't go their way. That's not true, you idiot. Actually, it turned out to be a blessing in disguise. It was a short interview, 3-4 minutes. Far more likely to get more views with a short video. That interview was seen millions and millions of times. It's become an iconic interview in the animal rights movement. It was shown in different news, on different news channels all around the world. And still to this day, I'm still getting messages about it. I got thousands and thousands of people get in touch with me after that who were inspired to leave the cruelty out of their life, to become vegan, to live in alignment with their core values of peace and justice and respect. It was worth it. It was all worth it for that. And that's what it's all about. It's about doing our part. It's knowing that one person can and does make a difference. That every seed you plant, every positive seed you plant will grow into something and then drop other seeds. This person said to me, eating animals is bad karma. Millions of people got a good vegan message after that in a clear way. And that's what it's all about. We all can do something to make this world a better place. In fact, we all must do something to make this world a better place. Activism is our rent for living on this planet. I can't remember who said that. It's not my quote, but it's damn good. You might not have known. I know there's a lot of people here who aren't vegan because I already spoke to you today. You might not have known that this was something that was possible for you, that the food could be this good, and there's plenty of examples of that here. You might not have known that it was healthy, that you're likely to be healthier. You might not have known how easy it actually is. You might have had a long list of objections, just like I did. But what about now? What about now? Now you know. And as Einstein would say back in the day, those who have the privilege to know have the duty to act. We all have a duty to act. And that's what this is all about. When you act, you get the benefit too. More love, more peace, more joy, more compassion, because you are extending your circle of compassion to embrace more than just yourself and your family and your dog. You're extending your circle of compassion to embrace all of nature and its living creatures. That's an Einstein quote too, and that's what veganism is. One person makes a difference. Together, we literally can change this world and make it a better place for us all to live in. I hope you will all take that on and do your part. Thank you very much. Thanks.